A 30% VA disability rating is a significant milestone in the VA disability system. It's the first level at which certain key benefits become available, and it often prompts new questions about dependence, healthcare, and the possibility of seeking a higher rating. Today, we're going to talk about what makes a 30% rating special, and we're going to talk about what we recommend that you do when you first get a 30% rating.
The first thing is that you can get additional compensation for dependents. When you reach 30%, you become eligible to receive monthly compensation for qualified dependents. For example, for a spouse, including common law in some states, children under 18 or under 23 if they are in school full-time, or finally for dependent parents if their income is below a certain threshold.
Something else that happens at 30% is that your VA healthcare access actually improves. At 30%, you move up to what's called Priority Group 2. This priority group offers expanded access to VA medical services, lower co-pays, and even eligibility for vision and dental care in some cases. You may also be eligible for travel reimbursement when traveling for and to VA-approved medical care appointments.
And finally, there are some other federal and state benefits that can kick in at 30%. For example, some states offer property tax exemptions, tuition waivers, or reduced fees for hunting and fishing licenses starting at 30%. But you'll need to check with your state's Veterans Affairs Department to learn details about this, and researching it can be a good use of time. One last thing to point out is that with VA Veteran Readiness and Employment Services, which tend to be known as vocational rehabilitation and employment, if your service-connected disabilities limit your ability to work, you may qualify for training, education, or job placement services. So if you're moving to a 30% from a 10% rating, then you should be aware that your eligibility for VR&E services is now probably a bit easier. At 10%, you needed to prove a serious employment handicap to be eligible. But that standard is assumed if you have a disability rating that's 20% or higher.
Now, based on all that, here are some of our recommended next steps after receiving a 30% rating. Sort of tip number one is enroll in VA healthcare. If you're not already enrolled, apply through va.gov/health-care, or you can easily do so by calling 877-222-8387. Sort of tip number two is adding dependents to your claim. You can do so by submitting what's called a VA Form 21-686C, or update your claim online to ensure your monthly compensation reflects your full household situation. Number three, review state-specific benefits. Check your state's Department of Veterans Affairs or benefits available at the 30% level. You can usually do so by a quick online search. And number four, explore VR&E benefits, which are veteran readiness and employment benefits.
And finally, as a fifth recommended option, you could also consider whether or not you think your conditions warrant a higher rating. Many 30% ratings are part of an ongoing or progressive disease process, and it's possible that the condition might be worse than the 30% that VA has assigned. So if you feel like your symptoms have worsened or potentially that you developed secondary conditions, try to keep some medical documentation and consider filing for increased ratings, secondary service connection, or even TDIU benefits if you believe that your condition renders you unable to maintain gainful employment. You can also start keeping a personal claim file. We suggest that you keep physical or digital copies of any VA decisions and correspondence you receive, any medical records you have access to, both VA and private, and a log of how your disability affects your life and work on a day-to-day basis.
And as a final tip, seek help if you need it. Consider contacting a VA-accredited attorney or representative if you think you deserve a 30% rating and you were denied this, you think your rating is actually too low, or if you have a 30% rating and you believe your condition has actually significantly worsened. So congratulations on your new rating, and we wish you best of luck. Please post any questions below for future videos, and like and subscribe to stay in touch. Take care.